Hello and welcome back to Bookish and welcome back to Tag Tuesday. Today I want to do a tag created by the marvelous Leo Bancroft. Just has to be one of the absolutely best people on BookTube, and that's a pretty high standard because there are a lot of great people here. He recently did a tag called the Stand With Trans Kids tag, and I saw that, watched that on his channel, and I wanted to do it, so I'm doing that tag now. I just want to say, before I start on the tag, how important I think it is that all of us, all people of conscience, regardless of whether LGBTQ plus or cis or whatever, that all people of conscience, realize that this is a moment during which trans kids and members of the LGBTQ plus community need people to speak out and need people to say something and need people to vote in ways which affirm their dignity as human beings, and here in the United States, their rights as American citizens. It's just an incredibly important thing. The very people who, continually rail about freedom when it comes to owning guns, or freedom when it comes to not wearing a mask or not getting a vaccine or whatever it is, those very people are some of the people who want to take freedom away from kids who identify as trans, from LGBTQ plus citizens and their rights to marriage, to health insurance, to all kinds of other things. The very people who come back and quote at us, the Declaration of Independence claim that we have the right to the pursuit of happiness, want to take those pursuits away. They want to take away a woman's autonomy over her own body. They want to interfere in a very real and authoritarian way in the lives of people who are not like them, and I can't think of anything that is less Christian and anything that is less American and anything that is less humane than that. So I want to thank Leo for putting together this tag, and I'm going to go ahead and get on to the questions. So the first question is actually to tag some people, so I'm going to tag people who might also want to do the Stand With Trans Kids tag. I want to tag Doris from Aldi Books, Sean the Book Maniac, Kazan from Always Doing, Scott and Nell from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, Fraser from Fraser Simon Springboard Thought, Jack the Rambling Raconteur, Elle from the channel Elle Thinks, and Kim from Middle of the Book March. As with every tag, no pressure, just some people I thought, I'd want to see their answers to the questions from, and some people who I really respect here on BookTube. Not the whole list, but some people who that's true for. So question prompt 2 says, tell us about some books on your TBR pile featuring trans or non-binary characters, or nonfiction about trans non-binary stuff. So these are two books I haven't read, and so they are by trans or actually in both cases they are by non-binary authors. I want to read The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey, and I want to read The Death of Vivek Oji by Kweke Mezi. I read Freshwater by Kweke Mezi last year, and I haven't gotten back to read any of the rest of their stuff, so I want to definitely read that. And Sarah Gailey, who you'll see here in a minute, is an author whose books I have enjoyed, some more than others. I'll talk about that really right here in the next prompt. Prompt 3, recommend a favorite book, show, movie featuring trans or non-binary characters. So I'm going to go with books here for both cases. So Sarah Gailey is and the way I found her is through, she wrote a series, or she wrote two books, which are known as the Hippo duology, called River of Teeth and A Taste of Marrow. And these are just incredibly fun, kind of science fiction-y fantasy books in which a really diverse group of people, including, bisexual people and trans people and gay characters, are these really almost kind of like the Magnificent Seven, in the sense that they have all these great skills, and they're kind of skirt the idea of what's legal and what isn't legal, and they are on a quest to right some wrongs and to do some stuff. And the thing that makes it about hippos is that they ride hippos. It's like a western, except set in the swamps of Louisiana. And people there ride hippos instead of horses, and hippos are my absolute favorite animal. And I just thought these books were just great. I thought they were fun. They're not, great works of literature, but I did think they were fun. And then this past year I also read Loath by Sheila von Reinhold, who I also believe identifies as non-binary. And to me, this was just a great, fun, interesting, diverse, creative book, which contains non-binary, at least non-binary character, and it's kind of like if you set a Donna Tartt book in the past and you made it more creative and more inventive in terms of the way in which the story was told. It's kind of has elements of like, the campus mystery novel kind of a thing, and I really, really enjoyed it. So prompt number, let's see, 4. Everyone has their own journey and no one demographic is a monolith. Recommend a book recommend a book with a journey, however you define that. So I went with really one of my favorite books from a couple years ago, and that's The Lost Children Archive by Valeria Luiselli, in which the main character and her husband, whom she's about to get a divorce from, and their 2 children who have become very close, but are going to be separated by that divorce, make a trip to the U.S.-Mexico border for purposes on their own, having to do with their work, and it interweaves their story with the story of child migrants attempting to cross the border into the United States, and the tragedies and all the things that go on there. I just thought it was great, and it's inventive, and it's told in a different way, and it kind of, anyway, I just thought it was a very, very good book. Let's see, prompt number 5. No one knows everything about our own identities, especially since we're not a monolith and each have our own journey. What is a book that taught you something either about yourself or the world around you? So, I really like this prompt because of what it says, that we really don't even know exactly who we are, because that continues to evolve, and I hope that that's true for me. Now, I don't think books make us better people, but I do think books open up our minds to other ideas, and lots of books have done that for me. Right now, the book I chose to answer this prompt with are James Baldwin's essays that are included here in the price of the ticket. This is just teaching me about things I didn't know about. It's reaffirming things. It's making connections that I hadn't made before, and it's James Baldwin, who I really like and respect. So I'm not sure it's teaching me about myself, but it's definitely teaching me about the world, teaching me about the long and troubled history of racism in the United States and its impact, and it's really making me look at things again in a way in which I hadn't necessarily looked at them before. And hopefully, I never get to the point where I say, I know for sure that I know all the answers. I don't want to get to that point, because once I know all the answers, in a sense, what's the point of going on? 6, when things are hard in the world or in our lives, sometimes there are things we can do to help center and refocus ourselves, to bring joy, to keep us going, to keep living, resisting, being our authentically amazing selves. What are the things you do to center yourself and find joy? So I'm not outdoorsy. I will just say that right now. I do enjoy fishing. I do enjoy hiking when we go on vacations. I do go on walks every day. But usually I find that being outdoors is really what helps center myself. And so this can happen anytime. I live in a suburban neighborhood where, all the natural beauty is manufactured. The grass, the trees were all chosen probably for their low cost, but to give the neighborhood a certain look. I think there's really only one. There are no ponds or bodies of water immediately around where I live that are actually natural. They're all been dug or created in one way or another. And yet, being outside, oftentimes the sky, the clouds, the sunshine, a certain kind of quality of light on a certain day, smell of rain. It's a rainy, gloomy day here today. Those things, being outside under those circumstances, that usually helps me find, helps calm me down. And my favorite thing to do is to be outside, whether I'm fishing or just sitting on my back porch, to watch the sunrise. I see a lot more sunrises than I do sunsets, and that probably does it more for me than anything else. The book that probably helps me center myself the most is my little Penguin classic copy of the Upanishads. It's not the whole Upanishads, it's just a selection. But usually, I can find something in there that will help, phrases I've underlined, or phrases I haven't thought about, or passages I haven't, explored in enough depth. I can usually find something there which really kind of helps center me. They're great at kind of retracting ego and making you aware of, of the needs of others and yourself. And anyway, I also read the Upanishads. Question 7: what is your walk-on music? So whenever I think about walk-on music, I think about baseball. And so the ultimate walk-on music, I think, in a baseball, in a sense, it would be Tool's 46 and 2. The opening of that song is ominous, and it gets really loud, and it's one of the songs that's on my Spotify playlist called Angry, which are just songs that sound angry, and they help me do the dishes. I think I've mentioned that before. But if we're talking about the other half of that question, the first part says, what's your walk-on music, or your feel at home in your own body music? My feel at home in my own body music is jazz, Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk, Bill Evans. Those things really kind of make me feel at home, and those songs are on a playlist I call Quiet House, which I listen to somewhat loudly when I'm the only person at home sometimes. Looking back on the tag, I realized I skipped one of the questions. The question was to name some or to mention some mentors you've had. I don't know that I've had mentors outside my family, but I would like to mention some of those people. First of all, my father, who is just a true font of wisdom. My mother, who really kind of inspired me the love of literature and books. Both of them open-minded people who taught me to respect people of all backgrounds, all races, to respect the differences in people and not to assume everybody had to be just like me. My wife, who is just the most caring, giving of herself person and is a good person to follow. My son, for toughness, endurance, and the ability to experience, I think, pure joyous moments. And my daughter, for her strength of character and her faith. Just really admirable people, and I am the least of all those people I mentioned in my family, but trying to learn from all of them. Excuse me. Prompt 9: who are some out, trans, non-binary booktubers, Instagrammers, authors, actors, etc. who you'd like to shout out? I'm going to shout out Brent from Rad Reads. Brent is just amazingly fierce, brave, out there in terms of their political ideas, an incredible intellectual, an incredible deep thinker, and at the same time, I think, is a person of great kindness and a person of great compassion and a person with an incredibly open mind. And so I really like Brent and their channel. Prompt 10, what are some organizations you'd like to shout out supporting trans kids and trans folks? I'm just going to shout out one, and that's the Gay Straight Alliance that exists in schools. I'll leave a link to their website down below. This is an organization I have a little bit of experience with from when I was in school and teaching, and essentially what they're determined to do is to prevent bullying of LGBTQ plus students in schools. And even in my conservative, my ultra-conservative, predominantly white school that I taught in, which, would have 10 years before been, as homophobic as you can imagine, that school actually had a Gay Straight Alliance club that met on our campus, and I always thought what a great thing that was. So that would be the organization I want to shout out. Anyway, there you go. Thanks again to Leo for creating this tag and for opening it up to anybody who wanted to do it. I hope more of you will do it, just as a way to show support for trans kids who are definitely in states like Texas, where I live, in Florida, under attack. And if people of good conscience don't stand up for those people, for those young people, for those kids, for members of the LGBTQ community, for women, we are going to see, a real retraction of rights, and we're going to see people really hurt by these things. Anyway, there you go. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.